You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
And now your host of California MUFON Radio, Lorien Fenton.
Welcome, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. So glad you're all with me here tonight. Boy, you know, I probably sound really happy, and I hope you guys all realize that I had the most amazing experience this last Saturday night, and I'm going to lead up to it with just a lot of things that have been going on in my life. Many of you know that I fell and broke my knee in April, the day after the very first time I spoke about my super soldier, mind control, alien, whatever it may be, experiences. And I was, you know, when it happened, I wasn't too concerned about it. I thought it was just me, but it was a very weird fall, and I still was wondering what the heck was going on. And I was a little afraid because the second time that I fell, and I knew that I wasn't falling on my own volition, and shattered my shoulder pretty badly. And I was really at a point, and I'm just going to be really honest with everybody out there, I was at a point where I was thinking about quitting the whole thing altogether, because I've been out there for about 3 years now really yakking it up about the fact that this mind control's real, that aliens are real, that all this stuff's real. People need to pay attention. They need to be very wary. They also need to accept the great parts of it, but there aren't very many good parts about the evil black cabal that runs this planet. So I'm out there on the firing lines, and I'm getting pretty beat up, folks. And there's a lot of things that were happening to me, and I almost died in 2009, and I've had a lot of experiences, and I'm just beginning to wonder if they knew I wasn't coming, and that's why they tried to kill me in 2009. So, because as most of you know, the story, I am almost absolutely certain, I mean, with 99% certainty that I was, attacked and given this disease. So, so I've had a really tough 6 months. I mean, really tough 6 months, and financially things have gotten very bad because of the break of my leg in April, and then breaking my shoulder in July. I was out of work for almost 2 months, and I just haven't recovered from it. Things have been very, very bad. So last week I had my MUFON meeting on Saturday, and I had made the decision driving up in the car to the MUFON meeting that this may be the last year I do MUFON. I was going to quit in December after the party. I made that decision in the car. I made the decision that I may not even put on UFOCon. I may cancel it altogether. I may not put on the mind control conference again. I was just going to quit and get a job. Now, I know that sounds kind of like normal for normal folks, but for me, it was a huge moment. It was like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do my radio shows anymore. I can't do any of this. I've just got to get a job, but things are so bad. And so I drive up there, I have the meeting, everything's okay, we go to dinner, and a new wonderful friend of mine, I'm just going to call him Mr. J, that has been trying to help me financially and moral support for my whole UFO experiences and everything that I've had. Not UFO experiences, but all the experiences I've had. Because I think my experiences come across as more the psychic, my labs kind of crazy life of Lorien. That's the only way I can describe it. I mean, when you manifest a rabbit at 7 years old, plus the few things that happened before I was 7, things just take a turn for the weirdness. And what's even weirder about the whole thing, folks, is I never knew it wasn't normal. I went my whole life. I was 53 before I realized that I had any kind of differences than other people out there. So I thought everybody could read each other's minds and knew when people were lying, and I thought all this was normal, right? I thought people knew when people were going to die. I thought all this was normal. Anyhow, so I'm driving up in the car. I make this decision. I mean, it's like, okay, that's it. I can't do this anymore. It's just got to end. This is ridiculous. I'm 57 years old. I'm going to be living in my car. And believe me, folks, it is not a pretty sight when a 57-year-old gray-haired woman is living in her car. Not that I have gray hair, mind you, but that's because I diet. But because I can't do, 2 cats and me in a car. No way. It's not going to work, right? So I make this decision. Okay, so my friend Mr. J shows up at the meeting, and we have a wonderful meeting. We brought in James Bartley. He was fabulous, as usual. And he kind of inspired me and got me thinking again that maybe I shouldn't quit. But it was a done deal, right? So we go to dinner, and Javier, oops, I said his name, Javier. Hi, Javier. I know you're out there listening. He says, hey, I got my night vision goggles with me, or my goggle. He got one goggle, not 2. And he says, I want to go look at it. Let's all go look at the stars and look for spaceships and what have you. And I thought, okay, that'll be fun. So about 7 of us went out to the parking lot, back to the building. We have our MUFON meeting. We're at the restaurant. We go back to the meeting place. We're in the parking lot, and 5 of them or so are looking in the viewfinder of the camera that he's hooked the goggle up to so they could look at the sky with the night vision goggle, because it was overcast. We could see very few stars. I mean, it was pretty overcast, and not the best night for looking at it, but they were seeing quite a bit of activity. Things were very interesting up there. And I kind of hung back at one point, and I'm looking up at the sky, hoping something will come along. And you guys are just not even going to freaking believe this. I'm still amazed. It completely changed my whole paradigm shift again. I'm now back more than ever, going to be out there putting on UFOCon, going to the conferences, doing the things I do, because I'll tell you what, I saw a very low flying, like a plane that it was huge, not huge land, big, like over the building type of thing, but huge in the sky. And I'm going to go back to the place I saw it. I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to put some graphics in of how big it actually was. It was a huge black triangle with 3 white lights on the corners, and I think it might have even had the orange ball in the middle. But it did a very strange thing, and I didn't see it alone. So this is even the best part about the whole thing, is my friend Diane was standing back there with me, and we both looked up and we both saw it, and I started screaming for everybody to look and look and look at it. But no one was. They were looking for a little star, right? And this thing was huge, and it was gray, so it was against a gray black sky, but it was also black too. But you could definitely see the blackness and the outline of it, and I kind of thought I saw some lights on the side, and it was very hard to tell because it looked like it decloaked, because it was suddenly there. It wasn't like it was like a plane flying overhead and it's coming at you. It was like out of the right peripheral vision of my right side, I suddenly saw something there that wasn't coming. It just showed up. And then it kind of wobbled and did something kind of weird where I could see the 3 lights, and then I realized that there was orange to it as well. So that might have been the light in the middle. It was wobbling kind of like, just wobbling a little bit, enough that you couldn't see all the lights at once. It was wobbling, and then it sped off. I mean, it was going darn fast, and it's going, and then all of a sudden it's disappeared. It's gone. It just winks out. So they obviously decloaked long enough to say, hey, Lorien, we're not letting you off that easy. And you got to get back to work. I mean, basically every time that I say to myself, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm never going to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want anything to do with this thing, something happens. And it's usually a triangle. Isn't that weird? I'm beginning to wonder that it might be a faction of the military that is fighting the evil part of this whole thing. That's just a thought off the top of my head, folks. I'm sharing it with you. It's from my soul. I don't know if I ever mentioned that I was driving back from Vegas one day, and I had an overwhelming sensation that there was a reptilian being reaching around and hugging me in my car through my seat from the back. Okay, that's another whole day. It's another whole story. But the bottom line was, he said to me, we're a rebel faction and you're working for us. And I thought to myself, no, I'm not. I went through this whole thing. It was an experience. It was a very big experience. I even had to, if many of you know that drive from Vegas to Los Angeles, there is a place before, kind of after Pern. I think it's called Pern or Penn. It's 11 miles outside of Las Vegas, heading to Los Angeles. I think it's on 10 or 110. And there's a rest stop on there. It's the only rest stop there between there and Barstow. And I had to pull over into that rest stop, and I sat there for 90 minutes or longer before I could even drive again. It was such an amazing experience. And it wasn't like 3D reality. It was all like astral. It was so bizarre, but I could feel the reptilian's scalies, whatever, on my cheek, like he was hugging me from the back and putting his face on my cheek. It was just bizarre. And, I don't think I've ever talked to anybody about that before, but anyhow, so there it is. I guess no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to get out of this, guys. And there's another thing I realized. And you guys, I'm bearing my soul here on the show tonight. I usually never do that, but I am, because I'm mystified as to why all this is happening to me. But I was 53 before I got indoctrinated into the battle, as they say. So I guess they gave me so much time off to get prepared to do this that they just start not letting me go, This may be the thing where I end up doing it until I'm like in my grave. So who knows? A lot of my friends were indoctrinated into this whole thing at an earlier age and started the battle, and doing what they're doing. And they burned out, and then they're all like living in houses in the middle of the backwoods of Kentucky and staying away from everybody. So maybe they decided, hey, maybe we should go the reverse route so we can keep them going. We'll give them time off in their, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Then when they hit their 50s, then we'll put them to work, So anyhow, so that's what's been happening. And I just thought I'd share that all with you and let you know out there that, yeah, I'm back in the battle again. And I might have left. I might have not been on California MUFON Radio anymore, but I am, and I'm sticking around. So hopefully I'll be able to get to the next conference I want to go to, and that is the one in Laughlin. It doesn't look like it, folks, because the T-shirt thing just didn't work out. But, maybe we'll do it again, and maybe something will happen and I can get there. Who knows? Maybe somebody out there will give me the money I need to get to it. That would be amazing, too. So I'm just throwing that out there. There's always an angel here and there that takes care of us if we're meant to do something. I really believe that. So, okay, now I have not been able to get into the chat room, and I'm going to try to go there right now. Let's see, InceptionRadioNetwork.com. Oh, by the way, hope you guys have got your app. It's very important that you have your app. That app is just absolutely phenomenal. So get it while you can. Okay, so hey, I got in there today. That's good. My computer last week was giving me absolute fits, and I couldn't even hear the people talking last week, and I hope it didn't come across as I sounded like I was off on another planet, but I really was. I couldn't hear anybody, and I was trying to check in with them, and it was a bad week. But this week, everything seems to be a lot better, and I'm very excited that I saw my UFO. Okay. Let's see what's going on in chat room. Hi, guys. I just want to say hello to everybody. Hi, everyone. And now, without further ado, and let's see. Todd, are you with us tonight? Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. How are you doing? Hey, everybody. I've got Todd Michael with us here tonight. He's going to talk. I don't know what we're going to talk about. What are we going to talk about, Todd?
We're just going to catch up on things, I guess.
I guess so. Maybe we'll have one of our usual conversations with about, 10 or 25 people listening. That'd be fun. We'll have a conference call, I guess. So, what you been up to? You seen any aliens? Hey, what do you think about my sighting of my triangle?
I'm happy for you.
Oh, really? See, now I'm part of me is really excited that I saw it. The other part of me is freaking out. That's exactly what I saw, Bill NY, except for it had lights on the corners. Bill NY put up a picture on the chat room, and it's exactly like that. Boy, that's amazing. Oh, that's exactly how low it was, too. So there you are. So if anybody wants to check that out in the chat room, go take a look at that picture. Oh, yes, it is military, Gino. You're absolutely correct. That's the feeling I got. I got that it was military. Absolutely. Anyhow, Todd. Okay, back to reality here. So they're saying it's a military craft. What do you think?
Well, I've heard stories, too, that the triangles are the military.
Yeah. I really felt it was. When you have had your sightings of ships and aliens and things in the past, don't you get a feeling from the alien occupants when it is an alien craft?
Not a distinction between alien or military. I've just always kind of felt maybe their presence, not knowing where they're from, I guess. But I have seen a triangle. As a tour guide in Arizona, I took a mother and her son out, and it was almost like they had just signed up because there was nothing else to do that night, and it kind of bothered me. But there was something up above us, and as soon as we all three asked to see a ship, it was just above us, 3 lights in a triangle. It was huge. It was, it looked like maybe a quarter mile to half a mile on each side. But it was up in the cloud, and the clouds were low enough that it could get real close to us, but didn't come below the cloud. We could just see the lights.
Wow. That is just, that is cool. See, yours seems like it's probably a lot bigger than mine was, or mine was huge and it was a lot higher than I thought it was. It's hard to gauge the distance. My guess was it was about 100 feet from point to point, just by looking at it, like a big military airplane. But Bill NY keeps putting up these pictures in the chat room, Todd, and they're so like what I saw. It's just absolutely amazing. So I just want everybody to check it out in the chat room, because we got some really cool stuff going on in there. So anyhow, Todd, so this thing was that big?
Yeah, and as soon as I thanked him in my thoughts for showing up, it disappeared. The lights went out and it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's what mine did too. It just kind of winked out. It was like it was suddenly gone. It didn't I didn't see it go off in the distance, It was just gone. That is so bizarre how they do that. Jeez. I'm pretty much in shock over the whole thing still. I can't believe I actually saw this thing. But, the first one I thought I saw was in Southern California back in 2011, when I had my recall memory the next day for the whole super soldier mind control stuff. And that night, that Saturday night, I thought a helicopter was over the house, and suddenly I look out the window and it's not a helicopter. It's 3 glowing red, balls in the sky in a triangle formation. And my thought in that moment was, well, that's definitely a triangle UFO, but maybe it was just 3 separate orbs. Could have been that. So I don't know. But it's tough to say. So that may have been my actual first experience, and it was kind of a very that was a scary experience. This one was more exhilarating, because it was like, oh, you're not quitting. Here, we're going to show you us. And there they were, and then that changed everything again. So I guess they absolutely are tapped into our consciousness, because how else would they have known to decloak for me to make sure that I didn't quit everything I'm doing here? So what do you think about that?
It's interesting. I remember we were out near the Bradshaw Ranch, and we had the goggles as well, and so we were looking up and we saw several military craft flying to the north, and then we're done and we're doing other things, and then all of a sudden from the north to the south, the same military craft were flying, but they had some sort of a strobe light, like harness that was hanging from them or something. They were just blinking all these white lights, and I'm sure people thought those were some sort of a UFO or something. I don't know. But we had already seen them, so we knew that they were like tanker jets flying high.
And they were beaming lights to each other? Is that what they were doing?
No, it was just a strobe light, like almost like a disco light, white, and it was strobing in different patterns. And each craft had several of them in a different formation, but we could see the plane itself. They were military craft, and like I said, they flew over to the north with no lights on, and then when they turned around and were heading south, then they heading back towards Phoenix, then they turned the light display on. So if there's craft that can kind of, when it's dark out, people don't see the craft until they see a light strobing.
Right.
So,
right, exactly.
And that's what was happening. They were flying to the north high above us, but we had the goggles so we could see them. So coming back, nobody could see the craft. They just saw these white lights blinking in this weird formation, kind of like something you would see down in South America around a volcano or something, that, the videos that people have shown.
Right.
So I think it's possible even just to have a conventional craft that can display lights in certain ways, and if they're at a certain altitude, you don't know they're there. And the problem we have with our human eyes is in the dark, we have a hard time with depth perception. We can't really judge distance very well.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. That was one of my first problems with the whole thing, was how big was it really? It could have been very small and very low, or very huge and very high. And I wouldn't have known the difference,
Right.
It's just that simple. And I even had a tree to kind of help gauge, and a few other things around me, but they didn't help that much because I didn't have any reference up high,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a tough call, but this whole thing of them tapping into my consciousness, though, the first time it happened, when they made me hear the helicopter and they were outside the window, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder, maybe they're just constantly monitoring us, or maybe, and here's another thought, and you can help me with this one, Todd, maybe we create them.
Like
Any
what?
ideas?
Like a thought form?
Yeah, maybe it's just our collective consciousness making it happen. Because when I decided I wasn't going to do this anymore, and I mean, I made one of those conscious, physical decisions where, this is going to end now,
Right.
Man, within 6 or 8 hours, I'm seeing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's a huge connection between how come I can think something and then it's all manifesting around me. And I just don't get that. Now, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's more 3D reality for everybody else. Maybe it's just my paradigm that every time I try to come up with, a thought form or, an idea, or I don't want to do what they want me to do, they're going to, intervene. That just could be the way things go. Maybe they made me sick in the first place back in 2009 when I made that real conscious decision at that point that I was going to change my life and dedicate it to the UFO cause, or the MyLabs, or the super soldiers, whatever it may be, but the conspiracy world, quote unquote, that this was going to be my future. So it's a very odd feeling. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it to people. And I'm wondering if there's other people out there. I know that you've had a lot of those experiences too. where they've kind of directed your life. Don't you feel that way?
Constantly.
Yeah. So, well,
sometimes it pisses me off.
Absolutely.
I want to do my own thing, or I'm tired of it. I want to, just like you said, you were tired of something and you wanted to quit and go another direction and get a job and get reinserted into the matrix, right?
And try to forget I even knew all this stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And then things happen. I think it happens with a lot of us.
And I'm just cracking up because you said something very funny just now. Earlier when I was saying, all these people, they all head to the hills and they don't come back. I think of you when I think of that, and I think of Kiwani, and I think of everybody. They're all like out in the middle of nowhere, hiding out. Basically, I mean, they're still involved, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like they all like, no, I don't want to be part of this, and they all run off to some mountain home place and don't come out. They're not all down in like San Francisco like me, doing the battle.
Isn't that part of the super soldier drama though? Is it they isolated? They're not encouraged to speak out or have friends. They just want to shut them up in Kentucky or something.
Well, speaking of Kentucky, we all know who's hiding out there. It's interesting. It really is. You're absolutely right. And they do that. They try to isolate all of us so we don't get together and we don't make waves. My conferences were a prime example of how badly they did not want that to happen. And as you know, you were at the second one where supposedly they abducted us all. And did our checkups or whatever they do to us. So
in a ride or moving van, though.
Yeah, I know. Well, it could be because I've thought a lot about it, and it makes a lot of sense. And what's even weirder is I saw a couple of rider vans hanging out around the place, and I just wondered what they were doing there. I thought, oh, people are moving and they're staying at the hotel, but maybe not. Maybe it was military. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if I was taken because I was up all night with Keith. We were standing outside the conference room talking till like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Oh, well, then you guys didn't. Well, but we'll get back to that in just a second. We're going to take our first break, folks, and we've got Robert Perala joining us in the last half hour. Todd's with us for another hour, so hang in there. We'll be right back.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Just a reminder that Inception Radio Network is on Twitter. Follow us at I_R_N and keep up to date about who's on tonight, what interviews they'll be doing, who's guest spotting, what topics they'll be covering. Tweet to us, tweet about us, retweet topics to your friends, and most importantly, never miss a great show again. That's I_R_N.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there.
Hello, IRN listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called DreamNuage.com. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DreamNuage.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com, and for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the EPIC forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyages program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's epicvoyagers.com.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. We're here on Inception Radio Network, the home of the most amazing app in the world. And if you guys go to, on the homepage of InceptionRadioNetwork.com, if you go to, now I know it's here somewhere, and I'm going to find it right now. Let's see if it's about us or, come on now. Come on, computer. It was working just great. Okay, well, I'm trying to get to the place where I can join the... There it is! Okay, you go under Shows, the Shows tab, and then you go to Member Login. And if you do that, folks, it'll take you to where you can either become a free member of Inception Radio Network, which is fine with us. We all appreciate just having you here listening to us. That is for sure. But if you click on Member Login, it gives you the choice of joining the Insiders Club at IRN. And the Insiders Club is just absolutely amazing. We're going to have all kinds of shows up there in the near future, and 2015 is going to be a big year for the Insiders Club. We're going to add all kinds of new shows and new fun things that are just pre-recorded just for the Insider fan club. So I hope you guys do that. I hope you pony up the $5 a month. It's not a whole lot. You get to listen to all the shows here at Inception Radio Network in their entirety, plus the special shows we're doing just for the Insiders Club. So please do that if you can. It's under shows, and it's the very bottom where it goes Member Login. Okay, well, wonderful. And I'm just trying to figure out, Todd, if you've seen a Bigfoot recently. I haven't asked you about that for a while.
Not seen one, but I had one not far from me, I think, mimicking a horse when I was up in Washington.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we haven't talked about this.
Yeah, so what happened?
A gentleman I was with was sweeping a chimney of this cottage that's on his 200 acres. It was a rental cottage, and the tenants needed it swept out and cleaned. So I'm sitting outside in the front yard by this fire pit, and this is way out in the woods, 20 miles from Canada, up in the mountains, and there's a horse in a pasture just maybe 10 yards from me. The pasture is anyways. And I'm sitting there just kind of off in thought, and I hear this that the horses make, and it was real close, and I could tell exactly where it came from, and I turned and I looked, and there was nothing there, and I thought, well, where's the black horse that was in the pasture? And I stood up and I looked over to the left. He's got to be 50 yards away, and he's standing there with his ears perked, just like, what was that? He heard it too. And then he came running down, stopped, turned and faced the woods where the sound came from, and just stood there with his ears listening and listening. So there was something there. He heard it, I heard it, and it was a horse. But there's no horses out there other than him. So it was really kind of bizarre, and he was standing there, and I walked around the fence line, and he's looking at me, and I was talking to him, saying, yeah, I heard it too. So I was walking around, and I didn't get any vibes or anything, but something was out there mimicking the horse. And it was funny because the horse heard it.
Wow, that's intriguing. Now, it couldn't have been a moose or a deer or anything like that, right?
There was no animals there, and when I walked up, the driveway goes around, but you can hear everything out there. And so if anything came down, a deer, a moose, or anything came down the driveway or through the brush, you're going to hear that, because you're just out in the woods and you hear everything.
Right. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So
I live on the river, and you can hear every sound. People have a conversation a quarter mile down the river, and I can hear the whole thing.
There was something interesting that happened earlier the day. We were helping them kind of clean out the barn area, and one of the workers there found one of those blowhorns, like the police used to yell, or fire departments.
Yeah.
The old school things, and she was yelling in it, Todd Michael, are you listening? The universe has a message for you. And I was ignoring her, and finally she says, did you hear me? And I said, the universe ain't got no message for me. And then just a little while later, that happened down at the cottage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, now, isn't that weird how that happens to both you and I? And this has been going on my whole life. That's why I said when I started the show out tonight, so many bizarre things have happened, and I just thought they were all normal. So I thought everybody had this stuff going on, that there were in my life, there are no coincidences. There's just all kinds of coincidences that happen, like synchronicity, continually. And, it's pretty often too. I mean, I don't know where to start, so if I could ever get my book written, which I really hope I can this year, I'm going to talk about all these things that have happened. I mean, it's just wild. So in your book, that's the other thing. No, tell everybody how they can get to your website and get your books, because your books are fabulous. I want to talk a little bit about both of them tonight.
My website is mylifeaftercontact.com.
Excellent. Okay, I hope everybody's got that. mylifeaftercontact.com. And you have 2 books. Go ahead and give away
3.
the names of the books. Oh, 3. That's right. I'm sorry. It is 3. Go ahead.
Well, Bigfoot's the 3rd one. The first book is Alien Contact, Former Arizona Tour Guide Tells All. And that was largely my experiences in Sedona, Arizona, as a tour guide, where we had night vision goggles and other electronic equipment that we would go out and request contact, and we had a lot of ships show up. We even had beings show up in our photographs and things like that. Then the second book is Into the Wild, Relationships with Nature and E.T., and that's the second book of the Contact trilogy, where you kind of go from the contact scenario in the first book to having regular contacts, which develop into relationships with these beings. and talks about some of my experiences going through those relationships. And then the ultimate relationship is the last book, or book 3, which is about Bigfoot, the 4 levels of contact. And that book is really about the paradigms that exist for people making contact or having sightings with the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. And that is based on our own social structure, where we have people that we don't know, we don't trust, we've never seen before. There's evidence that they're there. We see their footprints. We can see them from a distance or something. We call those strangers. Then once we start to get used to strangers, we see them around the neighborhood or something, we might call them neighbors. Some of the neighbors we become friends with, and that's the 3rd stage. And then the 4th one is when you're really good friends, you're brought into the family's inner circle, and because you kind of think like and act like them, you're one of the family. Each level of those progresses only because of trust, really. That's the core component. And from my experience with Bigfoot contacts, is that other people out there are having the same sort of paradigm levels or contact levels, the stranger, the neighbor, the friend, and the family member with the Sasquatch. And so it makes sense to me. I mean, they're a people to me. I've seen them face to face. I've been a few feet from them, a couple different types. Some have a lot of hair, some don't, and some have that sagittal crest like we see, in all of the pictures, that looks like a primate skull. Some have that and some don't. There's different color hair on them. Some have less hair than others. There's males, there's females, there's infants, and they're just a people with kind of a different culture, with a different evolutionary skill set, if you will, where they have different abilities, but they still use trust just like we do. Yes. So they see us as strangers. If we're in the same neighborhood, people habituate them where they're living in their backyards, and they leave food and interact with them. That's a level 2, like a neighbor. They hang out once in a while. You see them more often. And then there's people that are friends with them. And then there's other people's where it's just gone to that advanced level where they go into their world with them through portals, or they're physically hanging out with them. And there's trust there that allows that. And it's just like that in our society, but we have a hard time understanding that's what's going on when people are interacting with these beings and these creatures.
Man, I'm telling you, folks, it's a wild existence for people like Todd, because, you told me some of the most amazing things. Didn't you tell me, or was it Kiwani, that at some point there was a portal that opened up near you and you went into it, but you don't remember what happened when you were there? Was that you?
Well, I did tell you that, but I have been through portals where I do know what was happening. I have memory of that. But
have you told that on my show before? Do you want to talk about it? It's up to you. I mean, I'm not going to force you to talk about something you don't want to, for sure.
They're all detailed in my books, but the one where the portal opened up beside me, and I went through that one, that was actually in Kiwani's backyard. And
that's right, yeah.
I was camped in my tent, and I was all excited. He told me where they come in to backyard from and where they exit. And I put my tent right in the middle of their path, so they would have to walk between me and his kind of lean-to storage area. And so I was just so jazzed up, I couldn't sleep, and it must have been like 4 a.m. when I finally got some shut-eye, but it wasn't a lot. And I remember I was laying on my stomach, and I had my hands under the pillow, and all of a sudden my right elbow was going off to the right side of me. Again, I'm laying on my stomach. So my right elbow starts to drop down as though I'm levitating. And now my elbow is free to fall. And I was awake for that. I felt that, and I thought, well, that's weird. I'm laying down. And I didn't pursue it. I just kind of tried to go back to sleep. Next thing you know, I feel like I'm sliding down a hill on a magic carpet. I can feel things moving around me. I have that sensation. I'm going down a hill head first on a sled, right? So I open my eyes at that point because I'm starting to get a little nauseous. And I look, and nothing's moving. I can see his boat leaned up against the cabin, and I thought, well, that was weird. And then I noticed there's this something's running circles around my tent really fast. And I sat up, and I'm looking, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. And so mentally, I kind of slowed it down. And then I saw him. He stopped, and he was facing me. And I actually looked at him and stared at him, and it was funny when I told Kwani about it when he woke up. I was inside writing it all down, and he asked me if I recognized him. And I thought it was like a funny question because he didn't know, but I'm sitting out there looking at this guy, and I thought it was me. But his hair was a little different. You could tell he had the sunken eye sockets, the pronounced cheekbones, so it looked dark around his eyes. He was definitely a Bigfoot type, but he had very little body hair, and Kwani calls those ancient ones, whereas the Sasquatch have the crest on their skull. So I'm looking at him. It's got to be for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and he's like 5 or 6 feet from me. And then he starts running around the tent again, and he becomes a blur. He's going so fast, and I turn over. I'm actually sitting up, so I just kind of roll back and to look behind my left shoulder, and I see a portal opening up, and I watched as I got sucked through it. My vision and my awareness was like, I'm getting sucked through this thing, and whoop, I'm gone. I was like getting pulled towards it, and with my heart kind of leading the way in my chest, but I don't remember what happened. But again, there's other times I've been through portals with the Sasquatch, and I know what happened. Now, when I talk about how there's people that are brought into the inner circle, they're like family with them because there's a trust. When I speak about that, what I'm really saying is we think like and we act like them. I can go into an area and I know that they're present there. I can sometimes feel them. I know I've found their portals before. It's really weird, but I've also shapeshifted into them a couple times. And sometimes that's to facilitate going through the portals. Like one time in California, that happened where I went across this river and I shapeshifted. As soon as I saw him, I shapeshifted into him. There was a whole group of black-haired Sasquatch. And I messed around with this one for a while. He came up and kicked me in the crotch and kicked me in the balls and said, it's been a long time. So
wait a minute. You're telling me that their greeting is hi, let's make you have a little pain?
No. He was like a old friend or a brother or something. And that's what I'm saying. Some people, like Kwani says, have the right stuff, and it's hard to define that to people who don't get it, who are not participating in it. And even the people that get it or are participating in it don't really understand it, me included. So my take is, this right stuff is people who are somehow connected to them, because I've had other experiences with them, even the white-haired ones, where they're opening portals, and I'm doing work, like in the spirit realm, and they're holding the portal open for me to get through it, and then they'll close it. So a lot of experiences like that, but you don't do it unless you're one of them.
Yeah.
And that's the fourth type, where you're a family member. And I just have to say this. The first paradigm of being strangers, where there's evidence, there's a foot track, there's a tree knocks, there's sounds, screams, smells, hair, whatever it is, that's like a stranger. That indicates a stranger's presence. Somebody's been here. Well, for the Bigfoot hunters that are out there, they believe. There's a lot of people that don't believe yet, but they're not in the 4 levels of contact because they haven't had any. But the Bigfoot hunters are level 1. People who are habituating, who have them in their backyard and they're interacting with them, they don't go public because they're having this relationship. It's not like a peeping Tom running around where there's some stranger and they don't know what their intentions are. That's a stranger level. So the people that are habituating, those two levels, the first and second, you can see the Bigfoot hunters would eventually migrate to the idea that, okay, yes, they exist, and yes, it's possible they're living in the woods behind the house, or they're coming in the barn at night to stay warm. Okay, or they're eating out of my garden. They can accept that, but they cannot accept that you become friends with them as humans become friends. And I'm not talking about deer that are domesticated coming through the neighborhood, or you're feeding raccoons. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking like human friendship, where you're having conversations with them, telepathic and verbal, where there's a mutual respect, you hang out together, all that sort of stuff like humans do. The Bigfoot hunters and the habituators aren't quite there yet, but the people that are having the friendship, they can advance to the fourth level quite easy, just like the first can go to the second. So there's this gap. The first two are easily understood or traversed as far as paradigms go, but the third and fourth are hard to reach for the first and second, because it's so out there, it's so crazy, cuckoo. And that's where a lot of people look at Kawani and say he's nuts. But when you start having the psychic type experiences with them, with, you know, you talk about thought forms. There was one of these famous or popular Bigfoot researchers out there has come out recently and said that the people that are having the experiences with them, it's their imagination, but it's a thought form. Well, he's close. It's telepathy. It's like we were talking about earlier, where if we think about it and it appears. They appear.
Absolutely.
But only when people are ready.
Absolutely. Yep. You know, and Todd, you know, I got to thank you so much. You know, I've known you a few years now. I think we're pretty good friends. And the first year we started talking, you got me to a place where I could really start accepting all this. I mean, it happened to me. It's been happening my whole life. But I was one of these people that was like, well, yeah, it's happening, but, you know, they're not landing in my backyard, and they're not making contact with me like on the front lawn and coming in and having coffee. So I'm just going to kind of forget about it all and just go about my merry way. I'll still talk about it. I'll still promote them. I'll still, you know, deal with the whole thing. But, you know, they're never going to do that for me. And I realized after talking to you for so long that, yeah, they might at some point. And it might be the really, really, you know, good ones instead of the really bad ones that actually come and actually have a nice conversation with me. Mm-hmm. And I also realized that possibly during all the times that like that place of love that I went to when I think I died, but I'm not sure, or that, I'm sorry, it was an angel that touched me in the forehead, and the next thing I know, I'm in this place of immense love, and then I'm back in my body the next day, and I want to not be here anymore. I'm starting to realize that maybe I was just taken to a portal through a portal and taken to this place, and maybe it was Bigfoot, maybe it was aliens, maybe it was angels. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, I got to experience that, and I got to hold on to the experience. I didn't get to hold on to who it was and our conversation, though. So maybe they're just getting me prepped. Maybe it's going to take my whole lifetime before I'm ready to do like you and Kawani do pretty much all the time, you know, now, you know.
But some people do things in their sleep. When they're asleep, they go out and do stuff in other realms. And maybe that's what you're doing more so than in the conscious reality.
Absolutely. Probably because I need to make a living and have a life.
Yeah. Not like that.
No. But you know what I mean. I mean, I'm stuck in a rent situation, and I've got, you know, a car, and I've got pets, and, you know, I mean, I've got a life like a typical housewifey life, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's very different than what you and Kawani have set up for yourselves, which I think is wonderful. Believe me, if I could end up over living where Kawani's at, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But I keep being told, and this is another thing that's been happening lately, is I keep wanting to leave here. I keep wanting to go up into the mountains and hide out and have goats and stuff, and I'm being told I can't go. Basically, you're stuck here. You got work to do. You got to stay here and do it here, And I'm afraid. I'm afraid living in California where I'm at. I'm afraid something's going to happen. I'm afraid we're going to have, a tidal wave or an earthquake or, whatever. And, but I've also been told this, and I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds here on this, but I've also been told that I'll be safe. No matter what happens, they'll make sure I'm safe because I am here doing what they told me to do and I can't leave.
So yes, you're in a dangerous place, but so what if there's a tidal wave and you die? You go back to that place of love that you wanted to go back to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. See, I don't have a problem with that. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The problem is we all want to go now, but we can't.
Yeah, there is that. I got work to do, and they're saying, nope, you got to do it in California. I might be able to make it up to the foothills of Sacramento. That's about as far as I think they're going to let me get away from civilization, so that I can still go down to Sacramento and heave ho. Yeah. So who knows what'll happen? It's quite crazy stuff. So now, okay, we got way afield of your books. I don't know how we did that. We always seem to do that. So people can get your books there, and the name of you gave us the first, the name of the second, and the third one's about the 4 different levels of contact with Sasquatch. What's the name of the third book?
It's Bigfoot, the 4 levels of contact.
Oh, okay. So when you said that, it was the title, not what was in it. Okay, but it's also is in it. Okay, got it. All right, excellent. So, I'm going to shift gears here a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit, if we can, about what you videotaped for us for the Mind Control Conference. Can we talk a little bit about that? Not into great detail, because as I mentioned to everybody at the conference, it's pretty well adult content, and it's not suitable for radio really. But there are some things that were very intriguing that you talked about. Especially what I really want to get into is the fact that there was a doppelganger hanging out with you. Can we talk about that over at the other base after we get back on this next break?
Sure.
Wonderful. That's great, because that intrigued, I got to say, Todd, at the conference, that intrigued everybody immensely. It was probably the biggest talk of the whole conference was Todd's got a clone. So I want to dig into it just a little bit to hear your opinion about whether you thought it was a clone, a doppelganger, or just somebody that they put there that just seemed to look like you. So we're going to take that break, folks. We'll be right back with Todd Michael. We'll talk more about all kinds of interesting and fun stuff. Stay with us.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, Ira and listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called genial. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DREAMNUAGE.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com. And for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the EPIC forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyages program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's epicvoyagers.com.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton, and I'm here tonight with a good friend of mine, Todd Michael, and we're having a really, I think, fun and interesting conversation. What basically you guys are hearing, Todd and I call each other, now lately it's been about once a month, but we'll call each other or we'll Skype each other, text Skype each other, and tell each other what we're up to. But, we used to talk quite a bit more, didn't we, Todd? Mm-hmm. Anyhow, we should do that again because I learned so much from you the first year we were talking like once every week or two, and just amazing stuff. But yeah, that's basically, you guys are just part of the conversation tonight because we're just hanging out and talking like we do all the time. I feel like we just called each other on Skype and we're having one of our crazy conversations that we have. So, but anyhow, Todd made an amazing presentation for the Mind Control Summit back in May, the last weekend of May, first day of June. It was phenomenal, folks. Everybody was talking about it at the conference. They were like, who is this guy? Oh my God, his stuff is so amazing. And and the part about this, Todd, that is just mind-boggling to me is how much it revolves around sex. I mean, I hate to say it, folks, but there's a huge component to, we were just off the air talking about Arizona Wilder and all the women that are being used as quote-unquote sex slaves and, what have you. And this isn't I've tried to keep it as un-X-rated as possible here on the California MUFON Radio Show. But there's a huge component to sex around all of this stuff, and Todd really bore his soul at the Mind Control Conference and told us a lot about some very intriguing things that happened to him. Now, the part for me and the other people at the conference that really blew our mind was my experience revolved all around sex as well, and so did most of the other people that were being used in what we call the super soldier, MyLabs, mind control projects, all of them. And we were just talking about Arizona Wilder. Her main function was as a sex slave for all these Hollywood elites. But what people keep forgetting is that she was truly a MyLabs participant because there were aliens and military running her program. And so it was very much an alien-based agenda, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how this all works with this 3D reality of using sex as a control device and to kill people with, and the things that they did. It's a mind-boggling concept, and I'm still, like I said, folks, I'm totally confused. But Todd told us a lot of really amazing things during his presentation. So, and Todd, I don't think I even have yours up on the internet yet for sale, because I was just waiting to see if you wanted me to or not. But we'll talk about that at some point. But besides Todd's presentation at the Mind Control Summit, folks, if you go to mindcontrolsummit.com, you can buy the whole conference for like $25 or $30 and watch it. It's like 14 hours of amazing stuff. I mean, just mind-boggling information. Anyhow, so if you're interested in that at all, please go there and do that. It would help support the cause, as well. It will help keep me, from getting the phones turned off. As they say, and the cat's fed as usual. Okay, so Todd, what I did want to talk about that you announced during the conference in your presentation was the fact that there was a doppelganger working at this base. So tell everybody the whole story about that, because I just find this fascinating. Well, first tell people what a doppelganger is. Oh, yes. Maybe I should read the definition. Okay, here we go. There are many... where was it? Okay. In fiction and folklore, a doppelganger is a German-based word, and it literally means a double goer. It is a look-alike or a double of a living person who is sometimes portrayed as a harbinger of bad luck. In other words, you're not supposed to hang out with your doppelganger. So there you go. Okay, that set the stage for you, Todd. You go. Well, I don't know that that's what it was. It was more like a clone. Yeah. But before I get into this, I just have to say that on my journeys, I came to understand a new idea, a new concept, and that is that we are the core personality or the core function of our soul. And at times, in certain situations, we can create a split of ourselves. And that's more like what I understood this person to be, that it was me in another function on this planet, another reality, not a different dimension, but just another reality, doing a different job in that. But it was something that I created just from thought. And now wow. I'll get into the story. So I was in the military. I was at a technical training school, and at some point when you come out of basic training, you fill out this dream sheet. It's a piece of paper, and every branch of service has one. They may call it something different, but it's basically when you come out of your schooling, where do you want to get assigned? And it's a dream sheet because we're all dreaming. We want to go someplace like Hawaii or Italy or something, but we end up going where they want us to. But they sometimes try to fit you in to where you want to go. So my dream sheet at one point was for England to do the job I was in training for. And the students that go through the class normally graduate 5 or 6 months into it, and I was there for like 11 months plus, and I was a rock, I was untrainable, I was an old man, I was all kinds of stuff with all these young kids coming through. And at one point, after I got my welcome package, which is an envelope stuffed full of maps and brochures and a sponsor letter for the place that you're assigned to go off your dream sheet, once I got that, you kind of look forward to your new assignment, and you have an incentive. It's like a carrot to graduate the school. Well, I was having a hard time, and 2-3 weeks later, I got another envelope, another welcome package for a different job altogether, which in this case was a nuclear weapons tech. And if I remember right, it was someplace in California. I could be wrong, but I didn't want to do it. It had my name, it had my social, everything was me, but
why they sent me that material, I didn't understand. So maybe it was me just having a hard time and wanting a plan B. I received this package, and then when I got it, I turned it down. Well, several months later, I'm really having a hard time now. I'm getting close to the 1 year point, and just within my heart, I decided I really wish I had that welcome package back for that nuclear weapons tech. I just can't do what I'm being trained to do. I don't like it. I can't get through it. So I really wish I would have accepted that and gone forward with it. That is how, to me, you create a split of yourself, which is an alternate reality of yourself. That version of you goes forward, it learns, it experiences life, but it's part of the collective you. So there's been times in my life where people have asked me things, how did you know that? And really I had no way of knowing something. Nobody had told me about it. It was like a residual, something in my psyche that I just knew I knew. Well, to me, this can come from these splits of ourselves. And so in this case, I don't know what year it was. I'm watching a video, is 2007 maybe. I'm watching a video and I see this picture of an Air Force guy working on a nuclear warhead in a silo, and it's me. It looks just like me for that time frame. And I thought, no way. I mean, is that the guy that I just created by my desire to have accepted that other thing? And so another idea to kind of wrap your heads around along these lines is that if you have a job opportunity that you really want to take it, but you can't move because of some family obligation or something, you can create a split of yourself to go take that job, and then you'll learn those skills. And maybe that's part of the reason you want to take that job, and you want to learn something new, or you're fascinated with that subject matter, and it can come to you anyways that way. So that was the experience of seeing myself, and it was really bizarre. Listeners are going to be able to associate with the idea that you see people you know all the time around town or on a road trip or something, but it's not possibly that person because they're back home, but it's somebody that looks like them. So I don't know if we're actually seeing ourselves, that we're not aware that we created a split, or it is someone that looks just like us, or there's some other connection. I don't know. There's only so many keys that are made for locks, home locks, for instance. If you go to Home Depot and you look at you're looking for doorknobs with keys and stuff, you're going to see that there's only so many codes that match keys. So you could go buy one of every one and then just go through the neighborhood and try them, and you're eventually going to open somebody's lock. It's the same with motorhomes and other stuff with the locks. There's only so many key combinations that they make. So I think it's possible that the movie, Charlie Sheen's movie back in the day called The Arrival, where he starts seeing the same people over and over again, and then he goes underground, he finds an alien base, and he realizes that they're using our skin or our look, and there's clones or aliens running all over the place looking like us, or some of us are aliens. It was all kind of intriguing, but to some degree I've experienced some of that.
Absolutely. I tell the story about how I'll be laying in bed and I'll be kind of half awake, and I'll hear myself come in the front door, put the keys in the bowl, and I'm wearing a pair of high heels. I know I'm wearing a dress. I don't usually wear dresses, folks. It's not my attire in this dimension. And I'm wearing a dress, and I go into the kitchen. I'm making myself some coffee. I can hear it all happening, and I know it's me. I absolutely know it's me in another very close other parallel dimension in the same house, living in the same house. And I know when I'm in here doing stuff as that person that's like right on the other side of the veil. And it's just so bizarre, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, I totally flip out. I wake up and I go, oh my God, I'm in my own house. This is so weird. And I wonder if that person over there in that other dimension realizes that I'm in bed sleeping and can hear me snoring away, or, whatever. So, I just wonder how close we all really are. And it brings me to that movie with Nicole Kidman where their dad, her, and the two kids, and they're living in the house, and the it's the war for them. It's the 40s, but it's actually, like 2000, and people are moving in, and they're all making connections because they're so close. The veil's so thin. Between her and her ability to connect with the people that are there. So I don't know. It's crazy stuff, I'm telling you. And it's hard for our brains to accept it all. But I absolutely believe that is what's going on. The older I get, the more conviction I have about it.
I know more than one person who has memory, and it can even be waking memory, where they just go into a vision where they're in somebody else's home, they're in somebody else's body, looking out their eyes.
Oh yeah.
So they see what's going on in that house and in a different time frame and everything. It's bizarre that they just snapped, and all of a sudden they're in somebody else's body in the middle of the day, looking out their eyes, seeing another family, and then boom, they're back. It's like the vision's over. I mean, what's that about?
I think what they're doing is they're tapping into that person's etheric energy and just matching it for a second on that wavelength, and then they're there. Because, it's that whole quantum physics things that they've been talking about just recently, Todd, where they jiggled one neuron over here but realized the one, 70 billion light years away is jiggling at the same time, I think when we tap into the right frequencies at any level here, we can be somewhere else simultaneously, or at least tap into something at the other end in space-time, in no time, or where yet zero, as Plutronus calls it, the Hebrew word for it. It's a place where everything connects and it's all one. And I think some people just get there easier than others. And I think, and this is another crazy Lorien thought, is that things are happening on this planet where we are speeding up our molecular structure. I don't think we're going to have this big DNA ascension that everybody talks about, how we're going to grow these extra strands of DNA or whatever it's called. I think that our DNA is actually starting to vibrate at a different frequency level than it did, let's say, 100 or 200 years ago, because of maybe the galactic wave coming from the center of the universe. I'm not sure. But whatever's happening, it's happening now, and I feel there are so many more people out there that are aware of this other side of the veil reality and can tap into it. I just feel like there's more and more people out there. Oh, and also one other thing, Todd, that you and I are able to talk about it here on a radio show, just like we're talking about it now. I think that changes it for, thousands of people right now that are listening to this. They're opening up their mind and they're tapping into it too. And I think we're at a tipping point because enough people are able to hear about it, talk about it, and feel what we're talking about, that they're actually tapping in alongside of all of the rest of us that are talking about it. It's just, it's like the snowball effect. I think we're really getting close to being able to get more and more people aware of it. So, anyhow, that's my opinion. What do you think?
I don't know what's happening.
Oh dear. Oh, you know what? Bill NY said in chat that we usually ask questions at the bottom of the hour, but I've got another guest coming on in about 8 minutes now. Shoot, I can't believe how fast the time has gone. So Todd, let's do some question and answer in the last 8 minutes we got. How's that sound?
Fine.
Bill said his first question was, Bill NY, does Todd believe that Bigfoots are an earthly rare species, extraterrestrial, or dimensional? Or all three?
Or all three. Exactly. I think they're a people just like us. They have different color hair just like us. You hear stories about encounters with Bigfoot, and they describe what they look like, and there's contradictions, but, they're people. We don't all look the same. We've got different races and skin colors and body features and belly sizes and all of that. So who's to say they're all going to look the same? We shouldn't expect it. So that's coming, though, from the opinion that it's a person and not an animal. If it were an animal, they would tend to look more the same. So they are a human species. They just look different. They've been here probably a lot longer than we have, and they have connections with the star people just like we do. And they're interdimensional just like we are, but they seem to be on a whole different playing field than we are consciously, where they go in and out, they open portals and jump through and all sorts of things like that.
Very intriguing. Next question. This is also from Bill in Bill NY. What lies on the other side of those portals? What was it? Do you remember anything?
Yeah. I'll save the details for my book.
Okay. Are you writing another book about it?
Well, I'm on a fourth book right now, but the answers to his questions are in book 3, the Bigfoot book. But I will say that when I shapeshifted into one of them, and the younger one came up and kicked me in the balls and said it's been a long time. We played around, chasing around trees and stuff, and then the adults, as it were, called us back to the group, and we formed a circle. We all held hands, and again, I'm Black Sasquatch now, black-haired Sasquatch at this time, and something above us starts spinning in the sky, and we all get sucked up together into this portal. And the next thing that I knew was, as the movies go, or the stories go, the ghosts of Christmas Past, where the individual is taken back in time to view certain time frames or periods or moments in his life. That's what happened to me. And I was taken through a handful of moments in my life, and I was looking, and then once I understood, I started weeping, and I forgave myself. And then I'm gone to the next spot. It's really like the movies. It's really bizarre. But it was all healing for me, and each incident was a time in my life where something had happened, and I made a decision, or I acted in a certain way, and I never forgave myself for that. So they helped me. I needed to go through this process to relive those moments, even from an outsider's point of view, to witness it, to feel it again, and then forgive myself rather than blame myself. And that's where the weeping released it. And once the weeping passed, I went to the next. I was just zipped out through the time frame and brought to the next event. And these are all events that I remember. And like I said, there's so much to them. There's so much detail that you just have to read the book.
Yeah, wonderful. And when do you think this next book will be out?
No time soon. It's book 4 that I'm working on now.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, you'll be on plenty more times before the book comes out, and we'll be able to get that, out there when it does happen. Okay. And he also asks, is there some type of council which contains all these species and sets some guidelines on interacting with humans? Do you know anything about that?
A lot of people talk about the Galactic Federation. I have an Ashtar Command, all these sorts of things. I have no idea. I can't confirm them. However, I have worked with other beings, and there were 3 of them in a ship, and they were with me for quite a while in the beginning. And the leader of it, I would just call the project manager, because that's really what he was. He was acting as a project manager, and I was a team member of the team of that project. And so we were all doing something together. They were helping me, preparing me. And then when it was done, they left. But I remember asking him something about Ashtar Command, and he just said it's something totally different. So I don't know if the Ashtar Command, the Galactic Federation, all that stuff's kind of made up, or it's a name for something that really does exist, but it's not quite right, or I really can't say. I don't know anything about it. I just know that I've been a part of projects, and when you come from the spy world, everything's compartmentalized. So in a way, I'm still part of a compartment where everything is project, and that's it.
Yep, exactly. I totally get the whole project thing too, because that's exactly where I feel I fit in, is that I was part of some project. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and Arizona Wilder will agree with you totally. Okay, last question. And this is from Bill NY too. Bill NY is dominated tonight, folks, so we'll just have to give him lots of thanks for asking questions. Does Todd believe that entities may be tapping into our souls or life essence? Wow.
I'm going to guess here that he's referring to the idea that reptilians are with the sexual energy, or something with the lower chakra energies that people talk about, that they're tapping into our energies that way. I have no idea if that's the case.
Yeah.
However, we do that as humans. We actually bond with other humans, and we can drain them of their energy and trap them until we release them. And some people call that cording, where you create a cord with somebody and you have to cut that cord at the end of the relationship. And I've had to learn this the hard way, where I had people hanging around that I didn't want in my life anymore, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm still corded to them, I'm still draining from them what I need. And relationships are that way. When we let go, most of the times we don't let go. We try to convince ourselves that we are, but we're still tapping into their energy. And so if aliens or ghosts or other dimensionals are doing that with us, I suspect it's because, like in human form, we've had a relationship with them one way or another.
Wow. Okay, that was profound, and guess what? Our time is done. Now, stick around just in case Robert Perala has trouble getting in, but my guess is he'll be here, and you're more than welcome to hang out with us for the last half hour and interject whenever you want, Todd. That would be wonderful. So everybody stay with us. Robert Perala and maybe Todd will be here right when we come back.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hello, IRN listeners. This is MJ saying hello and sharing an awesome secret I discovered. It's called genial. Fresh, raw, organic ingredients are used to create all their products. They are made in very small batches to ensure quality and freshness. Handmade in the USA, each product is created with care and with the finest organic ingredients. There are no preservatives, dyes, or chemicals in any product. Stop by Dream Nuage and relax. That's DREAMNUAGE.com. Simple, raw, organic.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there.
Are you looking for a cure for boredom? Never worry. IRN's new interactive website introduces a number of ways to pass time while you listen to your favorite show. Choose anything from the IRN chat lounge, the game lounge, video lounge, or the mood lounge. These fun, exciting features let you chat in real time with fellow listeners, view live skywatches, play daily posted online games, or pick a show based on topic. The choices are endless. Use your time wisely, keeping it all on IRN.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
Hello, I'm Pat Usford, inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com.
EPIC is Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council, the forum for scholars, experts, and those fascinated by and involved in the study of ancient civilizations, conspiracies, cryptozoology, ETs, and UFOs, fringe science, the paranormal, and all manner of extraordinary phenomena. Please join EPIC as we examine the mysteries of the world and beyond on epicvoyagers.com. And for updates on the upcoming interactive video presentations, the latest news and discussion on the EPIC forum, as well as research, investigations, and membership opportunities. Epic Voyages program schedule is on the Inception Radio Network. Thank you for joining us.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars. I'm inviting you to tune in to Epic Voyages, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights, right here on Inception Radio Network. To find out more about Epic and how you can become a member, visit epicvoyagers.com. That's epicvoyagers.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the last half hour of the California MUFON Radio Show. What can I say? Oh, and before we get into it here, Robert Peral is online with us, and also Todd has chosen to stick around. I thought what I'd do is I'd introduce Todd and Robert to each other on air. They've never met each other, so that'll be kind of fun here in a few minutes. But before we do that, I do have to say, I hope everybody out there listening has visited MUFON.com recently. That's MUFON.com, and checked out the whole new website we have. It is really, truly MUFON evolved. Jan Harzen is taking us in all kinds of fun and new directions. And, you know, you guys, being a MUFON director, I was going to quit, but I'm not now. And I'm really happy that I'm not. And I'm really happy that I'm still part of MUFON, because I don't know, I think my heart would kind of break if I didn't have MUFON to go to, any state I go to in the United States when I'm traveling. I can always look up if they're having a meeting or if there's a MUFON thing going on, and I can try to make a meeting anywhere I'm at in the world, actually. It's absolutely amazing, and it's people that are your comrades in arms, and we have the absolutely most amazing MUFON meetings every month, and we're having a huge party on December 6th in Petaluma. If you guys are anywhere in Northern California or within driving distance, it'd be well worth your time to come up. We're just having a big old party. We're bringing in a tree. We decorate it with green alien ornaments. We have the green alien gift exchange. We have tons of food. It's only $10 to go to it. We have speakers. It is a lot of fun. People come from far and wide for our annual Christmas party, and they stay over at the Motel 6 and the Best Western, and then they tootle on home on Sunday. But we just really really have a great time. So if you're anywhere in Northern California, Southern California, Oregon, wherever, and you want to have a really fun evening with a lot of really excitement going on with a lot of like-minded folks, please try to get to our MUFON meeting in Petaluma, California. The website is MUFONMarinSonoma.com. That's how you can get to it. But I'm not the only one who does this, folks. I know that Southern California and Orange County, they do a December meeting and have a lot of fun. It's just rampant in MUFON. We like to party. So what can I say? And we always have the most amazing speakers at the December party at my event, because what I do is I invite anybody who's in the area that wants to come and talk. So we just have a great old time. So anyhow, but it's not just me. It's everybody involved in MUFON. Please, please, please join MUFON as soon as you can. Get with your friends every month. Have a great time. And that's it. It's all I got to say tonight about MUFON. So there you are. Okay, so Robert Perala is our second guest tonight, and we're on for just a short amount of time here. So, Robert, I tried to have you on, was it 2 weeks ago? And we just couldn't get on, could we?
No, it's okay. What can I say? You're living in a surveillance state. Did I say that? Did I say that? No. It was a normal thing. It was actually last week, but I'm happy to be on the show tonight.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. So tell everybody what you're up to, because I want them all to know about it. I want them to go to your Facebook. I want them to go to the web pages. I want them to go to YouTube. I want them to know everything you're up to. And then for the last few minutes of the show tonight, you and Todd can banter about aliens and Bigfoot or something.
Well, short, quick list goes like this. Some great announcements you guys all want to know out there on the air, and one of them is the Perala Report, which is has come out with 9 shows. We were one of the big reporting services there at Contact in the Desert, which was just a few months ago here in August and everything. And we had an incredible talk with Eric Van Daniken, who's now 80 years old. Do you know that he has sold 65 million copies of the original all-time bestseller that every UFO enthusiast should read, right? Chariots of the Gods. 65 million copies. It only took him since 1966 to do it. But there's some news for you. And then we had all kinds of fun. We had interesting talks with Mike Barra and with Eric and with David Wilcock, and we've had so many other interesting conversations there. Nick Redfern, and so next year it'll be it'll be there. It'll be in May next year. And but more importantly, there's also just the fact that people are switching on to UFOs. One of the things in Yahoo, if you notice on Yahoo.com, most viewed site in the world, is every day to every other day is a UFO article. And if you look at who's writing these articles, I gotta believe that the way that they're written is as if it is accepted as everyday normalcy. They give credibility to the source who spotted the crafts. Some of these are big-styled observatories. Some of these are very big-styled researchers. And we saw the craft that came out of the sun just a few days ago. This was documented fully right there in the article on Yahoo.com. I mean, the list was endless. And I look at this and I think, they're really preparing us, aren't they? Disclosure is right around the corner. There's talk. There's a lot of pressure from Medvedev, or Prime Minister Medvedev, there in Russia to have the Americans come forward on January 23rd at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. And this is where they discover, they talk all about, the climate change around the world and how everyone is exchanging our medium of exchange, which is money. But certainly you can't hold the UFO thing back. It's becoming a thing where they want the United States to come forward at the same time they do. If they said if we don't, they will. And the list just keeps going on, doesn't it?
Wow. Yeah, it does.
We've seen did you talk about the fact that UFO Con is officially now in Santa Clara across the street from the university?
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't. I didn't bring that up tonight. Yes, I'm definitely doing UFO Con, folks, and we'll have much, much more about it here on the network, and I'll let everybody know what's going on with that in the future. Yeah, Robert Perala has always been there for me, folks. He's always at my side. He always helps me with all these, and we're meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock at IHOP, right?
Yeah. So we plan and we strategize for the audience, and it's great, you know. And I just think it's going to be a bang show. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of great things coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, people are just more turned on to this topic, and it's amazing. And tell us a little bit more about the different interviews you did. Didn't you do one with Mark McCandlish as well?
We did. We did one with. We were also at the Secret Space Conference in San Mateo, and we met with Daniel Sheehan, Mark McCandlish, and Richard Dolan, and a few others. And what we found, we also met with Michael Schratt, who really had an incredible program that was showing us that the technology that's out there today, if you think you're seeing a triangle-shaped craft, you probably are, because in some ways it's not just ET. We now know that it's our own government that's flying these craft, and they're not going to come forth and say, okay, well, we have interdimensional abilities and we have the ability of cloaking ability and things like that, because let's face it, the position of the national the Defense Department and the Secretary of Defense and the executive staff is they're in the business of national security, not in the business of national insecurity. And so that said, they won't tell you that. So it's coming out in many sources, many other websites and blogging and YouTubes and of course, Lorien, your site, the Fenton Perspective, and everything. It's coming out in so many ways that, in fact, if you're seeing these triangle-shaped craft and things like that, yeah, you're probably seeing actually a U.S.-made craft that's even beyond the F-35 and these kind of crafts. So that's the world you're really living in, folks.
Yeah, for sure. So now, how do people find you on YouTube so they can look at these amazing interviews? I was there for a lot of the interviews, folks, so I know how incredible these interviews are. They're really something special. So how do they find that?
Well, they find us at theperala.com, the Perala Report, Perala. And these aren't just, filmed, interviews with some small camera. No, these are filmed very beautifully. High definition camera with color correction, beautiful sound. They're excellent interviews. I just, the people that were involved, that gave us their time and everything, gave us a little different view. We had just recently released the Travis Walton video, which is the most personified abduction case that you almost find on record, and it shot to a quick 5,000 hits. 5,000 people went up there to look at it. And I told him in the interview, I said, I don't want to talk about exopolitics. I don't want to talk about what other people's beliefs are or what other countries' positions are on the UFO question or disclosure. I want you just to take me from the time you stepped out of the truck with the other 7 loggers and you got out of the truck to see this like spinning top, and then the spinning top sends down a ray that knocks you out, and then you're taken aboard, and then you go through the experience, and then you're left on the highway 3 days later to wake up on the highway and not sure what has even happened. And there's all this, everybody's wondering where you were, where you've been. And now we have what's of course the motion picture Fire in the Sky, and we have the most personified case. And so he took us through the interview, and you never saw anybody with such emotion and still trying to negotiate the trauma of, think about what that would really be to actually come face to face with an extraterrestrial entity that at first doesn't look human. The first ones he met were not human, and later to meet one that was human, but to actually be aboard a spacecraft. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
I know, and I'm telling you, it's you tell people that, and they just look at you like you're so, you're an alien yourself. But poor Travis, folks, we got to remember it's 2014. This happened in what 1970.
75.
Yeah, 75. I was a senior in high school in 75. My God, that was ancient history. People back then, as you and I know, Robert, because we're not spring chickens anymore, they look at you like you were a pariah. You would end up in a mental ward if you talked about those kind of things. It was not talked about at all.
No, they wouldn't believe you anyway. It was the stuff of science fiction. But, ever since... Project Blue Book, where J. Allen Hynek was recording the first, personified cases that they could compare with each other. And now, of course, in the modern day age with social media, we find so many people coming out and saying, especially when you're at the expos or you're at the lecture where somebody's describing their experience, how many times have we seen somebody come out of the audience and go, I never thought I'd ever believe it. I have a story to tell you that I've been holding back and I haven't even told my family for 30 years. I need to talk to you.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. That
happens at your
MUFON meetings. Yeah.
That's right.
I was just going to say, the people in chat right now are having a discussion about the investigative arm of MUFON. And I totally, I understand a lot of them have been frustrated with it and some have been okay with it. And some want to know if it's public or it's not. And what I wanted to say to them, as well as Robert and Todd here on the network tonight, is that I wholeheartedly support the investigators. And what people forget about the investigators at MUFON is that they're not paid. These guys are all volunteers. Most of them work full-time jobs, have kids, have a family, and do whatever. And then they try their best to get to their backlog of cases, because the problem, and I see this as a problem that's shall be fixed in MUFON's coming history, and I think MJ would agree with me on this, that it is very easy to document lights in the sky nowadays. So I think what MUFON is going to have to do is they're going to have to forgo lights in the sky reporting, because of the workforce we have isn't big enough to handle it. There's just too much of it going on. They're only going to be able to report on actual physical ships like I saw that are at low altitude where you can actually see the darn thing, and the person could either draw it for them and have it ready for them, or give them some kind of idea, like take a picture of the area it happened in and then show it to the person, the reporter, and they can fill in the information or what have you, and mostly do it by internet. This having to, call people and talk to people and or having to drive out to where they're at, or whatever, those days I think are pretty much over, and I think MUFON's going to have to just evolve with the rest of us. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But what Robert's saying about what's happening at the MUFON meetings, Robert, isn't it amazing? I mean, you've been going to the San Jose MUFON meetings for what, 20 years now?
Yeah, they threw a party for me earlier this year. I was really appreciative of that. Ruben Uriarty, the director down there, I started down there all those years ago. Actually it was in 93. So, just amazing. People just keep coming.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, okay, now don't forget, folks, check out the prolocutor.com. It's THE Parala Report, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, because I kept forgetting to put the on it. So don't you guys out.
And join our Facebook page, too. We got our Facebook page up there. And go see the movie Interstellar. My son is in the industry, in the motion picture industry, and this is Christopher Nolan's new film, opening tomorrow, theaters nationwide. We're going on Saturday to the IMAX theater at the Tech Museum to see it. But if you're going to take the wildest 3-hour ride that you've ever had, it just comes in at just under 3 hours long. It's a very, very, very expensive picture to make, and it is about Earth has run out of resources, and we must now find an answer, and it's out in space. It's with Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway. Don't miss it.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Well, okay, Todd, are you still with us?
Who wants to know?
We're looking for you, buddy. We're looking.
Let's hear from Todd.
So, Robert and Todd have never met each other before, folks. This is the first time, and Todd was at both my Mind Control Summit 2. I think it was just Mind Control Summit 2, right, Todd?
Yes.
And Robert has been to now a couple of UFO events that I put on, correct, Robert?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So here's my question to both of you. Would you want to come to another conference that I produce? and just say in a nutshell if you had a good time or if it was bizarre or if anything weird happened to you there or what happened. So, hey, Todd, why don't you go first?
Well, I have to ask, we talked before about me going to UFO Con. Am I still on the
Oh, you're a speaker.
palette?
You bet. You bet.
So, yes, I'll go.
And Todd, you are one of the, doesn't it say on there, Robert? I think I said it says, oh, I got to go back and look at it. It says, E.T.'s fixed his refrigerator. Will they fix the universe or something like that? That's your byline there on the UFO Con website, which I haven't been to for a day or two. So I'm forgetting things. But yeah, so
Okay.
yeah. So did you have a good time at the Mind Control Summit too?
Yeah, I met a lot of interesting people, and some of them we're still in contact. We're friends now.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is great. So, Robert, what's your take on the whole thing? Would you come back
Well,
to
I always feel that the expos are powerful, informative. They're a little bit life-altering. You don't go away the same person you went in. I mean, if you have an open mind, you're going to find it's very revealing. It's a weekend that gives you an in-depth look in science, metaphysics, spiritual views, how we're responding to the UFO issue that is now becoming common talk in every circle, in every sector. And you got to go and find out for yourself. If you want, you're going to have a great time. You're going to meet extraordinary people. And the way to go there is just to go to UFO Con. It's really that simple. It'll be a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, especially that Robert's going to be our Master of Ceremonies on either Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. You and Ruben Uriarte is going to be our other Master of Ceremonies, so I'll have one each day. And here's what it says. An E.T. fixed his refrigerator. Will they fix the planet? That's what I have for... That's what I have up for you, Todd, on the site. That's what it says.
Where does it say that? Because I'm looking for it.
UFO Con 2015 will point you to UFO Con 2013, which is the home year of the conference. Right. And it'll take you there. And then the slides keep going by, and each slide has a presenter on it. And you're in there.
Okay.
So... yeah, it's going to be quite fun. So I hope everybody else goes out there and checks it out. We're definitely doing it March 28th and 29th in Santa Clara. I just found, what did you think of the hall, Robert? You got to check it out.
I love the venue. It's just perfect for all of us. Great parking, food nearby, great stage. Couldn't have found a better place. Centrally located, right next to the university, which will hopefully attract the younger crowd to come on out and really see what's going on. And easy to access, from the freeway. Perfect.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a really, really good time this year. And you know what I found intriguing about the area altogether was the fact that that building across the street closes down and we get the whole parking lot to ourselves for 2 days. I mean, it's just a mind-boggling.
Somebody's going to have a skywatch. Somebody's going to have a skywatch.
Yeah, that's
Tell us about that.
I forgot to tell everybody what we're going to do on Sunday night after it's over is we're going to do a skywatch out in that big parking lot behind that building. Hopefully that building will block out all the light. And we can get down there and get some stars. It was absolutely amazing. I got to tell both Todd and Robert this. When we were looking up and I saw that triangle spacecraft, we couldn't find any stars. If it wasn't for the night vision goggles that we could see the stars because of the lights from the city, we would never have been able to see anything that night. But that craft I saw was so low we didn't need night vision goggles, and you could just see it flying around. So, this whole thing about having to go out into the middle of nowhere to see this stuff, I saw it in downtown Petaluma, So, now I'm convinced you can see them anywhere. And people say, even in big cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, whatever, they're seeing these things flying around big as life, even with all the city lights going on. So, pretty wild stuff, I got to say. So, I think you guys are pretty tapped out.
No, I'm just out there. We have a full moon tonight. Good time to go out and check out the full moon. It's almost full. Probably tomorrow night it's at its fullest. But if you go out right now, you'll see an amazing moon.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that's what I'm going to do
but
right
after the show, of course.
Yeah, after the show. Well, the show's almost over. We got a few seconds. Hey, Todd, I want to thank you so much for being on tonight. And you and Robert will meet at UFOCon 2015. So... Okay. I got you guys together early, so there we are. And thanks for sharing all that amazing information tonight, especially the stuff about the Sasquatch and running around the tent and the portal and kind of seeing yourself and the doppelganger. It was just amazing stuff, I got to say. And you got to tell Robert all about it when you meet him in person.
I want to hear that.
Fun.
All right.
And then Robert can tell you about his aliens in the silver spacesuits. That's really an interesting story, too. So there you go. Okay, Robert, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Todd Michael, and everybody have a great night. Visit both Todd's site and Robert's site, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night.